The Indian share market's expectations from the Union Budget 2024 revolve around several key areas, with investors and stakeholders looking for measures that can drive economic growth, improve market sentiment and foster a conducive environment for investments.
Experts anticipate potential tweaks in the income tax slabs or increased exemptions, which can boost disposable income and consumption. They are also expecting reduction or rationalization in corporate tax rate that could positively impact corporate profitability and investment sentiment. Market expert Purv Shah says that the market is expecting a cut or removal of capital gains tax.
Markets have always been looking for a cut in this, either a cut or in fact a removal of long-term capital gains completely, and that would lead to markets to rejoice.
Investors also say that increased allocation to infrastructure and development projects, including roads, railways, ports, and urban development, is expected. This can spur economic activity and benefit sectors like construction, cement, and steel.
Markets are also looking for infrastructure and developmental spend in the budget. It's always been on the increasing side, and I think an increase in infrastructure and developmental spend will also, this year in the budget also would be there.
Initiatives under production, linked incentive, that is PLI scheme, or other measures to boost the manufacturing sector is also expected. Policies promoting renewable energy, electric vehicles and sustainability are expected, aligning with global environmental goals and fostering new growth sectors. Investors will closely watch the announcements for their immediate and long-term impact on various sectors, and any positive news in budget will lead the markets to rise higher. Shama Mishra's report for DD India.
And joining us now is Shama Mishra from Mumbai, and she's joined by Hrishikesh Bagla, Deputy Chairman CII Western Region and Chairman and Managing Director of BG Lee-In Electricals Limited. Well, Shama, it's over to you.
Well, Munmun, we understand that there are a lot of expectations and it is anticipated, and most likely it will be multifaceted with a thrust on keeping the balance between fiscal prudence, the growth, boosting the growth, and also a lot of investments in the sectors which is definitely related to the domestic industry. As you've mentioned, we have Rishi Kumar Bagla with us. He's the Deputy Chairman of CII, and he also he's the Chairman and Managing Director of Bagla Group, which deals with electricals. Sir, my first question to you, what are your expectations? And when we are talking about electricals, about your company, what are your expectations from that particular sector?
Thank you very much. I would like to say that CII has made many recommendations to the Honorable Finance Minister for the budget, and I will be speaking some of the recommendations that we have requested. But before I begin that, let me congratulate the government, the policymakers and the people of India for doing a 7.8% growth in the first quarter, whereas the whole world is grappling with a situation of negative positive growth situation. We are far ahead of the world. That's the first message, that we are doing very well. So we are obviously doing something which is very, very good. Talking about the fiscal prudence, we have been able to control our fiscal deficit, which is very, very good, and we hope that this will continue to keep reducing as we go forward in future. From a 5.9% to 5.4%, we are expecting 5.4%, which should be good, and that is what is one of the expectations, that we will be able to provide a very good fiscal control and fiscal prudence in the country. Now coming to some of the things that we would like to say about the asks. One of the asks is that rationalization of GST into 3-tier is very, very critical and important for the country, because we need to be very clear that the materials which are used by the common people should have the minimum GST. Most of the materials should be at the mid-level, and luxury and other items should be at higher level. This is what we are expecting from the GST. We expect a lot of capex to come for fostering growth and demand, especially in the rural areas. So we request the government to look at the possibility of investing much higher capex on irrigation and creating cold chains, etc., in the rural area to boost the rural demand and to create more income into the rural hands, which will indirectly increase the demand and the last mile, connectivity in the country. Land, labor, power, education, agriculture, all these areas, the center and the state must align together to make these reforms happen in the country, which will increase which will boost the entire country's positivity and increase the GDP growth in the country because of the demand. Affordable housing is one of the areas where we have requested that the government should increase the threshold limit for interest subvention from 25 lakhs to 35 lakhs, because affordable housing is something which has been extremely successful in India, and people are taking a huge benefit from the affordable housing and they are able to get the housing in India. We also have recommended employment-linked incentive, ELI, rather that there is a PLI. PLI has shown us a great, growth in the PLI industries, and we request the government to create now employment-linked incentives and employment, especially with regard to tourism, hospitality, logistics, retail, films, entertainment, animation and gaming, some of the service sectors where employments are very large and the country needs employment, obviously. And this could be one of the, very, very significant and important point for the country. One of the very important things that we need to look at is the female participation in the workforce, and we need to provide all kinds of support to the industry to make sure that female participation happens more and more in the industry. For this purpose, one of the major reasons why MSME is reserved about employing females in the workforce is because of the maternity leave. The government could consider providing some sort of a support to the MSME industry, typically for providing a part of the maternity leave that needs to be given to the females. Ease of doing business is something which is very, very important, because India has progressed very well as per the last study of the World Bank, but we need a long way to go. Lots of areas are there where ease of doing business is needed, and especially center, state, not only the state but district level. We must bring the ease of doing business, because the industries are at the district level.
Yes.
And only when the ease of doing business is understood very well at the district level, that's when India will change.
All right.
So we feel ease of doing business is very important.
Okay. So yes, Munmun, now Rishi sir has already spoken about the overall holistic expectations, and rightly he said that there is a need of a greater coordination between the states and the central agencies, and also there is a need to connect the districts, because that's where the bigger companies are coming and putting in their companies, and that's where the employment generation will happen. So overall, this was more of from the industry perspective, and if you're talking about the common man's perspective, we all know it is about the exemption limits in the income tax slab, and also more investments in the R&D and employment opportunities, greater employment opportunities, more investments in the green and renewable energy sector, so that the EV that we are trying to bring in, the infrastructure that we are trying to bring in, is actually robust and the shift can be made more seamless. Over to you.
We leave it at that, Shyama Mishra.